I've built a few Gauge 1 live steam locomotives so far. This is the next one I'm going to build, and it's going to be scratch built and it's going to be live steam, and I hope you find the series of following videos interesting to watch. Hello and welcome to part 19 of the Gauge 1 GWR Prairie tank scratch build. You see we've got a blank canvas here, so here's a clue as to what we're going to be doing next. Yep, it's all copper material, and what we're going to start is the boiler now, and this is another very important stage. The boiler, I guess, probably is the heart of the steam engine. Now, if you like these videos, please hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel. And it just does help to bring the numbers up and keep the supporters for the channel. And I hope you like the video that you're going to see next. So, before we start cutting our metal, I'm just going to take a few minutes to explain what the boiler is going to look like and where we're coming from on this. And I guess everybody's got the basic idea of what the boiler is and what it looks like. We're going to go for a spirit-fired boiler. A lot of designs, you have a parallel boiler, and it would look something like, very crudely, something like this. Okay, and you've got the flames under here, and you've got the smoke box. You have the smoke box here, like so, the chimney. Now, and also you have, eventually you'd have some cladding on here with the boiler bands and etc. that represent to cover the outside of the boiler. Now, that's fine for a lot of Gauge 1 designs where the locomotive in real life has a parallel boiler, and you just build a parallel boiler like the ones we've seen already. So it would look something like this. And say for a lot of designs that's fine, and a lot of the locomotives I have use parallel boilers, and that's okay. Now with Great Western locomotives, they actually have a tapered boiler. Here's a great example of a Great Western boiler that's under restoration at the moment at one of the Steam Heritage Centres, and you can see quite clearly the taper where it runs from the left hand side from the firebox down to the right hand side where the smoke box is. So to begin with, I'm going to take a piece of sheet copper and I mark that out. You've got the inside firebox in here, and we've got some cross tubes that sit on here. The firebox will sit at this point here. Okay, so got a piece of metal, and I've just referred back to some of my older, more trustworthy designs, or some of the more detailed designs that have a little bit more information, and it tells me that what we're making, what we're going to make is, I'll draw it in sort of 3D. It's a wrapper that looks something like that. So I know that this has got to be 3 inches wide, so it needs to be 3 inches wide by about 4.5 and by about 4.5. So we set our 3 inches more or less to what we want. Just put our mark there. Got a nice straight edge to work off. So there's our 3 inches. Just join those up. And as I say, according to my other designs, we want something 4.5 inches will give us enough to wrap around. and just join these lines up here, and we can proceed to cut this out. Here's our piece cut and all squared up. Now what I have to do now, this piece gets bent, and what I've got is this former, and this is obviously the shape of the inside firebox. So what we need to do now, the process is to bend this plate around this to get the shape of the firebox wrapper inside. Now in order to do that, to make life a little bit easier, I'm going to anneal this copper. I could bend it like this, try and bend it round. It would be quite difficult, and it'd be quite a struggle. So if you anneal this, heat it up to a red, cherry red, and then just let it cool down, this becomes a lot softer and a lot easier to work. There's our piece that's been heated up, just heated that up to a red colour all over. Right, that's cooled down now, so I'm just going to get a centre line just across here, approximately where a centre line is going to be, and just do across these four corners. Okay, with our square we can take this through. The aim now is to gently form this copper plate around here, but that is now bending far easier than it would ever be. There, look how much that's bent. I'm just applying a reasonably light pressure on that. I'll raise it up and let's bend a little more. It's going round. I'll continue to gently coax this into shape. They're starting to happen, so I can just lower it into the vise this way and just gently coax it into the shape I want. Turn that round. Drop it in here, and now start to squeeze these sides in. That's not looking too bad. Give it a good squeeze now. Here's the inner wrapper completed. Basically we've got the shape we want. You can see we've got it formed round and goes around. It's got a nice form. We need some cross tubes putting in here. They cross through like that through this firebox. So I will need to set this up in my angle vise. I will drill a series of holes through here and through this side. We're looking to get about some of the designs I've seen. One of my early ones just started off with 3 of these cross tubes, but I found I was able to get 5 in, so that's going to give me a bigger heating area. In our angle vise now, I've marked out the 3 holes on one side, and I've just started them off with a centre drill just to get the hole started. What I'm going to do is go through with a undersized 1/4 inch drill. This is about 15th thou undersized, because what we need to do once these are done is ream these holes for a nice fit for the cross tubes to go into. So I will drill these now. And what you may notice there is some wood come out, because what I've done, I've kept the former to support this metal as I drill it. As I mentioned, this copper is quite soft, so it would start to deform quite easily if it was not supported. So this is another use of the former, just to support it while I drill through. Just drill through both sides now, and you can see now we've got the 5 holes drilled for our cross tube. That's the last of the reamed holes I've done for the cross tubes, and just need to tidy these ragged edges up, just deburr the end of them, and twist with the end of a drill just to take these burrs off. Here's how you can see there how the copper tube fits in. These fit in diagonally, so what I'll be doing is just putting in 5 of these copper tubes. Just get the length I want. You'll need a little bit of meat on here for soldering purposes that can be filed down later, but this will just give me the approximate length of what they need to be. So we need 5 tubes like this, so that'll give me the length of what I'm after. I can just mark approximately what they need to be for now, and so once these are silver soldered in, I'll just file these down to a bit closer to the firebox there, but that's giving me a starting length. The last of the cross tubes going into position. Just got them an approximate length at the moment. Just gently tap that one in. You can see the cross tubes there. I get that right. But before I go racing off to silver solder this, the other thing I decided to make was the tube plate. This tube plate just fits in, just a nice snug fit into here, and once I've soldered the cross tubes in, I'll then solder the tube plate and the fire tubes in. But there's what it looks like to give a little view of that with the tube plates. I hope you liked this video. Do hit the subscribe buttons and the like buttons if you enjoyed the video, and we're going to be continuing on with another video to show the soldering up of the cross tubes. Just to finish off, here's a couple of pictures of how I made the tube plate.